Hey guys, this is justacarnerd here. Welcome to a new podcast. Yes, not a video, but a podcast. This is my new podcast channel on Spotify. It's called Need for Speed. I hope you guys like these podcasts. I will be making more of them, as the time goes by because there are some other topics which are really cool, but I don't think they're big enough to cover on my YouTube channel. So I will be covering them here on Spotify. Anyways, with that formality, oh yeah, one more formality also. Please just go out to my YouTube channel and subscribe there as well. Follow me here on Spotify. Self plug done. Yeah, now for time for me to who tell you actually what I want. Anyways, just before we start, there's another following announcement. At Sohom Music Official, he's here on Spotify making songs like Cosmic Days and Lanterns Within the Fog. A really, promising up and coming artist. He and I have made a official album for my channel called Upshift. It will also be here on Spotify. It has 4 instrumental tracks out there. They're pretty cool. So if you like them, check them out. By the 5th, they will be on Spotify. But as of right now, you can find them on YouTube. I hope you guys look at them because they're pretty good and check out his work as well. Anyways, self plug, collaboration, promotion. What else is left? Oh yeah, the entire podcast is left. Ha. Okay, so today for our podcast, there will be a lot of background noise. Let me just start over. Tonight on Need for Speed, there will be a lot of background noise. I will be making some unfunny jokes, and we are going to be learning about an unknown car company called Lola Cars. So, on to the podcast. Our story starts in Britain, where there are a lot of colonizers. It's the land of baked beans, and also the land which forgot to put spices in their food. And I could go out trashing about the UK, okay? There are lots of things. But I'm not saying this seriously, so guys, please, do not attack me. I hope. Thanks. Okay, so anyways, our story starts with one largely unknown, unfortunate but true, man, Eric Broadley. Like James Bond, but Eric. Yes. Anyways, it born in 1928 in Bromley. Wow, there are so many horns. Yes, if you guys do not yet see, I do not have a really expensive recording studio which is soundproof, and I also live in a suburban, not a suburban, I live in a metropolitan city, so there will be so many background noise in the background. Yes, background noise in the background, that's the best I could come up with. Okay, so anyways, Mr. Broadley was a man with an eye for speed and engineering. He was a very proficient person in architecture, a discipline that was said to have helped him later in life. By 1956, Broadley had used what was by then the popular Austin 7 as his basis for a race car, which he named, drum roll please, the Broadley Special. These people do not very creatively name their cars. Like, the McLaren F1, the P1, and now the Broadley Special. Well, technically, the Broadley Special started life very early as the Austin 7. Okay, the Austin 7 was like a mini. Okay, think of your common, budget car like Toyota Corolla, Mini, Cooper. Yeah, definitely. I definitely know the name, guys. Yeah, don't doubt me. I do the name. Yeah, Mitsubishi Mirage. All of those things were basically doing the same, which are doing basically the same thing as the Austin 7. Anyways, rubbed shoulders with legends like Colin Chapman, the founder of Lotus, and Frank Coston. Yeah, Frank Coston, co-founder of Cosworth, seemed to have left quite an impression on young Eric, as he made most of his car's parts by himself, except the engine, which came from, I will, guess it. 3, 2, 1. It's a Ford. Yes, so you had to fix it every day. Okay, so whatever. Anyways, the car would be local hill climbs and events, which made quite a name for Mr. Broadley. So much so that people started going to him with requests to make race cars. In 1958, he became the first man ever to lap the Brands Hatch Indy circuit in under 1 minute. Once it was sorted, it beat the Lotus 11s with, I quote, monotonous regularity, notably in the hands of Peter Ashdown. Wow, yeah, I'll say that again. Notably in the hands of Peter Ashdown, right? Who racked up at least a score of wins, including a close win at the sixth. Sorry, excuse me. Sixth overall at the 1959 Tourist Trophy. The success soon attracted the interest of other privateers, so Broadley and his cousins were contracted in 1958 to build 3 more copies. Uno, dos, tres. Yeah, 3 copies. Okay, so Lola Cars Limited was bored. Yeah, the name Lola was chosen from the popular music at the time. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. From the musical, The Damn Yankees. Broadly used up his 2,000 pound savings and opened up a shop in West Byfleet, Bromley. Wow, think about that, guys. Back then, you could take 2,000 pounds, yeah, same thing, and start up your very own car shop in England. And now, 2,000 pounds, what would that get you? Hopes and dreams? Maybe a set of big bags? Maybe the ice cream machine will work? Who knows? So, anyways, tangent about inflation over. He set up his shop in West Byfleet, Bromley. The Broadley Special now received its correct name, Christian Lola Mark I. It was the main focus. Broadley produced about 35 cars, all with the Coventry Climax engine, which was an inline 4, producing a monstrous, blistering, earth-shattering, rubber-burning, tire-shredding 71 horses of power at 6,000 RPM. Now, before you guys laugh at it, okay, it was really good for the time, the 71 horsepower. Inflation hadn't hit engines yet. Okay, with ever improving results, Lola jumped to even higher aspirations with its second car, the even more creatively named Mark II, Lola Mark II, and it was for Formula Junior. Performance was promising rather than outstanding, a common problem with me, I think. Yeah. If you did not know that I can make a joke, you know that I cannot make a joke. Definitely. Okay. So, as I was saying, performance was promising rather than outstanding with the Formula Junior spec 1.1 litre Fiat engine with its 78 horsepower being fitted originally. It was later changed to the Coventry Climax, okay? That was the 78 horsepower was just for testing. The front engine was a mistake, as the formula was soon to be dominated by rear and mid-engine cars, as seen by the Lotus 18, debuting quite soon. Despite these drawbacks and scoring very few wins in the 1960 season, yeah, actually the research work on this car is a little bit wonky, with some sources like the official Lola Cars sources claiming that it earned lots of victories, but Wikipedia stating that it did not earn lots of victories. So I'm taking the middle ground and saying it won moderately. Okay, as I'm saying, performance was promising but not outstanding. Okay, 42 examples were sold, so Lola was making, more cars with every generation. That's really great. However, the Mark II was not what Lola wanted. It did not win as much, so redesigned for 1961, the mid-engine Mark III debuted, which was a much greater improvement, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. It consistently finished behind the contemporary Lotuses and Coopers. By this time, though, Lola was still nothing notable in the racing history books. So for that, we should fast forward a little bit, skipping the Mark IV and Mark V. But before we start, I know you know it, I know it. Spotify is probably going to put an ad break here. So, before we start, let's take a short breather. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Yeah, that vehicle horn announced my return. Why is it still honking? Okay, never mind. We are truly back. The year is 1963. Go-go boots were stomping through the market, lava lamps were all the rage, and the tie-dye craze was just taking off. Enter Eric in his office at Lola. Le Mans was the popular endurance championship of the time, the creme de la creme of racing, and Lola needed in on it. So, with great pride, Eric, along with his team of engineers, cooked up a simple yet elegant design, the Mark 6, and debuted it at the 1963 Racing Car Show. It featured a Ford 4.2 liter 255 cubic inch V8 and a Colotti 4-speed gearbox under a sleek fiberglass body, showing good handling and, I quote, a remarkable turn of speed. How is my British accent, guys? I rate it 9 out of 11. Okay, anyways, it made 250 horsepower, which was respectable for a V8 for any car at the time, which is 186 kilowatt. Yeah, enough to put it in the running for the 1963 Vinci-Quartier du Mans. My French is so good, even an Englishman would say that I speak French. Don't ask me what it means though. I think it means big race in France. Very cool, which sounds like Le Mans. Anyways, until the gearbox balked. What's that word? Balked? Balked? It's a weird word. Anyways, David Hobbs driving the car crashed. Unfortunately, the Mark 6 never could achieve quite the racing victory it needed, but it did catch the attention of Ford and eventually led to the development of the Ford GT40. Yes, the Ford GT40 was a Lola. For those of you who, have very thoroughly researched Ford and Ferrari's battle in Le Mans, or who have just paid lots of attention while watching the Ford versus Ferrari movie, you would know that the Ford GT40 was originally a Lola until Carroll Shelby modified it a lot because it was, according to Ken Miles, and I quote, "a utter piece of crap." Okay, so anyways, the GT40, had I don't know, a little bit of, actually a lot of success. Okay, it was Le Mans multiple times after a few hiccups. However, due to corporate politics, Eric left the partnership with Ford, and he unfortunately never saw through. I think he never did. I think he never did see through his creation success in Le Mans. But now comes the time. Time's the come. Wait, what did I say? Anyways, now comes the time for another legendary car. If you are a classic car enthusiast, or I don't know, a classic racing enthusiast, whatever, you are going to love this one. The Lola T70. Well, technically he tried with the T60, but after one or two iterations and many failures, he had to completely revamp the car. So, yeah, the T70, okay, offered with a 5.4 or 6.2 liter, 327 or 377 cubic inch Chevrolet and a Hewland 4-speed or ZF 5-speed gearbox, and patterned on the Mark 6 and GT40. The T70 was fresh, nevertheless, and it was almost as big as a sibling, big as a revelation with its older sibling. Anyways, FIA created Group 9, later called Group 7, just for the T70. I mean, that's a big achievement, like you create a car and a big racing body who, I don't know, just so happen it's to really love a certain car company, Ferrari, Ferrari, just creates a new category for racing your car and other cars based on it. That's a really big achievement. The T70, I want to add another note about it. The T70 is like one of my dream classic cars, okay? I have a dream classic car garage, and in my mind, it includes the 427 Cobra Super Snake. Yeah, okay, stay with me here. The Lola T70. Okay, okay. Fixed roof, not a roadster, obviously. Yeah, because in the upcoming video there will be a roadster as well. Porsche 917 LH. Okay, I can't resist me those. The Lima winning one, again fixed roof. Uh, a convertible, obviously. Jaguar E-type convertible. The older ones compared to the later 2 plus 2. I didn't like the second generation as much. And finally, a Chevrolet Corvette C4. Okay, not as much of a classic, but still, 1980s were 40 years ago. Okay, yeah, feel free to feel old. So I think it's pretty much a classic. Okay, so coming back on track. Okay, the T70 is really cool. Yeah, as I was saying, 15 were sold in 1965, as well as 32 of the improved Mark II cars, introduced in 1966. Early success of the Lola T70 came when Walt Hansgen won the Monterey Grand Prix at Laguna Seca Raceway on 17th October 1965, driving John Meckham's Lola T70 Ford. In 1966, the hot setup for Can-Am was the T70 Chevrolet, winning 5 or 6 races during the year. Okay, so let me make this thing clear. I earlier mentioned that you could option a Chevrolet V8 with the specific, Uland or ZF gearbox. Basically, for these types of racing vehicles, it is more like coach built. Okay, if I have to make you understand it, I'll tell you. The race manufacturer, basically makes the body, right, and the chassis. Okay, along with, however, the engine can either be optioned from factory spec. The factory spec can be optioned as the options which are given, such as I said, the Chevrolet ones. However, you can choose your own engine, okay, which yeah, which could be from a Ford, could be from a Chevrolet, could be a damn Porsche Flat 6 for all I know. Anyways, so basically that was how these types of groups of vehicles worked, if you don't already know. I'm assuming you do, but still I found this pretty cool and pretty interesting, so I shared that. Anyways, so where was I? Yes. Yeah. So that was that. In 1966, as I was saying, the hot setup for Can-Am was the T70 Chevrolet, winning 5 out of 6 races during the year. Yeah, there were very low amount of races, probably because it was highly experimental and the tracks were very long, I think, right? The Can-Am races. I actually need to make a podcast on the Can-Am. I know it gets a little bit tiring of hearing only me speak, but I don't have friends. Okay, I don't have friends who are into cars. Let me clarify that. I have friends who like many things, but not many who like cars. Okay, so anyways, John Surtees was the champion for 1966, with Dan Gurney driving the only ever Ford-part car to win a Can-Am race. Finally, a Mark III variant and some open-top Spiders were also built. A T70 Mark IIIB was driven by Mike Deudi, wow, a South African, to set a land speed record with a two-way average of 191.80 miles per hour and a one-way best of 195.96 miles per hour on 13 January 1968. This was in the 1970s. They were like, after this, the record has moved very slowly through the decades. You think about other cars, like Bugattis and Koenigseggs and so on and so on and so on. They push the envelope by like 10-15 miles per hour, which, though no disrespect to them, it's a great gain, but there are many physical possibilities due to physical reasons, due to which the possibilities of pushing the land speed record further up becomes more difficult. So Say you happen to go 195 miles per hour. You need more horsepower, lots of horsepower, like it's above 50 horsepower, and much better tread. The tires at this time were very bad. Okay, tire technology is still improving as we speak, and that's the main hurdle to setting up many land speed records and just production car speed records in general. So basically, uh, the speed record has shifted little by little by little by little. I think the current speed record. How much is the current speed land speed record? Let me look that up. Okay, never mind. Production car speed record testing is significantly more different. So what I wanted to say was, as this is a production car, the tire technology has led to the production car land speed record being shifted little by little increases. However, the current land speed record is 763 miles per hour. Imagine that. And that needed a British Air Force pilot to do that, which is mind blowing. And also, now that I remember, it required two Pratt and Whitney rolls. No, Pratt and Whitney. Anyways, it required two jet engines, steel wheels, and basically lots of engineering. Okay, the thrust SSC got that land speed record. So that's how fast. That's how fast you need to go to set the current land speed record. However, this was a production car, and the current land speed record at that time, 1968, was much more different. So if I search up the current, production car speed record, I will get. Yeah, I have a cough, guys. Okay, that's my breath gets a bit itched. Yes, so as I was saying, the current production car speed record sits at 304 miles per hour. Okay, now hang with me. That seems like a lot, 100 miles per hour over increase. But the previous one of that was 267 miles per hour, which is not something, which is a great increase over it. And it sorry, from 1968, it took us until, let me just check this. How long did it take us? Oh yeah, the Bugatti Veyron with the 250 miles per hour speed record came out in 2011. It took us I don't know, 40, 50 years? Yeah, it was about 50 years. It took us to reach 250 miles per hour. And it is 20, that current speed record was set by the Bugatti Chiron Super Sport 300 plus in 2019. Okay, so 2019, after that it took us 70 years. About my maths is weak. Okay, please don't judge me on this. But it took us 50, 60 years at least to get 100 more miles per hour. And that original speed record was set up in 1968. And that was a land speed record. Okay, so I'm just trying to quantify this. Okay, but I am now going off track again. So never mind. I should probably go back to where I was. Yeah. Okay. So Mike Duty, that guy set that land speed record on 30 January 1968. All in all, over 100 cars were built, which collected 232 wins. Over 200 wins. That's a very big thing for just a single lineage of a vehicle to make. I mean, just think about it. So many wins. Okay, so anyways, 232 wins, 348 podiums, and 91 pole positions for one car line from one company over, I don't know, 5-6 years. That's great. That's a lot. Okay, so the T70 was the car that cemented Lola as a race chassis manufacturer for many years to come. Okay, so Lola now wanted to go full force in Can-Am with its Le Mans aspirations being fulfilled. With the successor to the T70 had now come out, the T160. It was innovative, as evidenced by Lola building the chassis out of fiberglass and molding it into an aluminium monocoque. This meant the car was lightweight, weighing only 670 kilograms, 1480 pounds, despite being powered by either the Chevrolet ZL1 or the Ford FE Big Block motors, generating about 625 to 750 horsepower. Yeah, so apparently Ford and Lola have settled their beef, which is good. Great power to them. Okay, that was 466 to 559 kilowatts. Mated to a 4-speed or 5-speed Hewland LG. Life's good, guys? Anyways, I don't know. 500 or LG 600 manual transmission. The car couldn't give any consistent performance. Okay. It was either in the top 10 or it was the DNF. So Lola had some lackluster performance. The car was in active competition until 1971, where it was joined by the T220. The T220 debuted with a lightweight aluminium monocoque chassis again. Okay, Lola were really wanted to continue their lightweight aluminium monocoque chassis, and a massive Chevrolet V8 delivering over, I kid you not, 700 horsepower. And this was in the 1970s, where emissions choked everything. Just think what they could have achieved with 700 horsepower then. Like, this was the Corvette ZR1 C8 of its time. Maybe not, because it was a track-only car, but I'm just getting too full of myself, Yeah, anyways. Okay. It featured innovative aerodynamic design, but again, it faced reliability issues. The T22, 222, 222, 222. Anyways, why is my brain like this? The T222 was an evolution of the T220, 220, with improved aerodynamics, cooling, and chassis strength to better withstand the demands of Can-Am racing. Both cars competed against giants like McLaren and Porsche, but achieved limited success again due to mechanical problems again. Yeah, Lola is looking really hit or miss right now. Anyways, so as I was saying, limited success due to mechanical problems and fierce competition in one of motorsport's most intense eras. Among the best result was a third place at the Hockenheim Ring in the third round of the 1971 Itisserie Championship. The T222 chassis number HU04 was driven by Vic Elford at the next round of the Itisserie, and the Norris Ring 200 Miglia, the same 222, again obtained a third podium place finish. Not bad, but still not really great. This time under the command of Joe Bonnier. The final car in the T series, technically not the final car, okay, but this T200 something series, okay, was the T260. After years of lackluster performance, Lola tried to wake up and began to cook, and cook they did with the T260. This was not a derivation of the previous cars like the 220 or the 222 or whatever. However, this was a brand new one built from the ground up. 1971 saw Lola wheel out the big guts in an effort to halt the McLaren juggernaut, not only with something special in the car department, but also with a new specialty in the driver's department. World champion Jackie Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, was brought in to complete the package. The very experienced Carl Haas team. Yes, the same Haas which really does not do well in Formula One now, was contracted to do this. That should give you the idea of how it would run. The new contender. With its new cooling systems, the Lola T260 was a force to be reckoned with. The engine produced even more horsepower, 760 to be exact, from a huge, there is no replacement from displacement. What the F is a kilometer? America F, yeah, 8.1 liter Chevrolet V8. and with a curb weight of just 725 kg, the car had a power to weight ratio of more than 1 is to 1. Just think about that. All of you Koenigsegg fat boys who are here, or those who appreciate Koenigsegg in general, you guys know about the Koenigsegg 1 is to 1 built on the Agera chassis with 1360 horsepower and 1360 kilograms of weight. Okay, that has 1 to 1 ratio and is one of the fastest cars. This has a greater than 1 to 1 ratio. Okay. Anyways, with the revised suspension layout and aerodynamic improvements, the T260 came very close to dethroning the reigning McLarens. But alas, reliability again. What is it with reliability and Lola? Okay, became the Achilles heel of the car, holding it back from winning the championship, which brought a very sad end to the T260 series. Literally, like almost no T260 is won. It's really sad. This car looks very cool also. Okay, with the front wing, the rear wing, and all of its aero-y bits. Okay, it looks really cool, but unfortunately didn't win. At the same time now, Lola put its efforts in the Group 6 class, with the efforts with the T210 and T212, which were its fruits. Made of similar materials to the Group 7 cars, but powered by a different heart. Remember Frank Costin? Okay, I talked about him at the start of the episode. I hope you guys remember him. Okay, so anyways, his 1.8 liter Cosworth FVC, not the DFV, the FVC, which had half the engine. FVC, as I was saying, yeah. Okay, this is not the DFV engine, but it was half the DFV engine. So if you guys ever want to hit a baby DFV engine, okay, Cosworth DFV engine baby by F1 Fats over here. Do I have any F1 Fats? I have like 70 subscribers. What am I saying? Okay, so anyways, the FVC engine, okay, it was 1.8 liter baby Cosworth DFV, and it produced a totally respectable 180 kilowatts, which was 245 horsepower. Pretty good. Okay, what do you think? That's pretty good. Okay, so Lola produced a total of 16 chassis, most of which were sold to private stables. Yes, this is like a horse, you know, guys. Horses live in stables, private garages, private stables, huh? Huh? Okay. It was more competitive than its Group 7 counterparts at the time. The T210 won 29 times overall and achieved 7 class victories. Nothing to scoff at, okay? Okay, so Lola did not, rest on its laurels. Okay, that was too fast to say that. The T212 was a revision of this car. It also accounted for all these wins. Lola didn't rest on its laurels at all and dived back into the game with the T280 series. The Lola T280 and its evolutions, the 282, 284, 286, all of these cars raced in the Group 5. Yeah, the 3 liter Group 5, which later became the Group 6 class. By now, my boy Eric at Lola asked, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And involved only one new element into the body materials. Plastic. Glass fiber reinforced plastic panel bodywork was used. Alvedia Ballcock was the name of the game. With an increase in engine displacement to 3 liters, Lola would comfortably come up with a new prototype, aka the T280. Powered by the 3 liter, ladies and gentlemen, you asked for it, you want it, get ready for it, the Ford Cosworth DFV V8. Okay? My, classic F1 fans who are, shout out to you guys here, you would know this, V8. The DFV V8, okay? The 280, T280. Featured a as I said, a lightweight aluminum monocoque and aggressive aerodynamics. Along with the T282, 284 and 286 with excuse me. Yeah, with improvements in chassis, rigidity and bodywork. The T280 debuted at the 1972 1,000 kilometers of Buenos Aires, where Joe Bonnier and Rain Wiesel finished second, It saw strong privateer support and decent results, including wins in Dodge Championship events. However, the series struggled against factory teams. The factory teams, guys, like in F1, Mercedes and so, like there are almost no non-factory teams in F1 right now. There's no Braun. Uh, I think one of the most well-known non-factory teams, Red Bull, is only there. Red Bull and Carl Haas. Yeah, and along with that, Indian Sahara Force. Only three teams. Back, in those types, they had to have a whole like qualifying events. Like many non-factory teams used to come there. They couldn't qualify. Some of them couldn't qualify. Some of them could. And as a result, really unfortunately, the cars were retired, and after so much spending on their vehicles like Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault, all of these guys won so much that non-factory teams, many of them pulled out, many of them got financial problems, and very sadly they pulled out. You know. Also, some factory teams combined with non-factory teams. Okay, so I'm just adding that there. Okay, enough of the F1 tangent. Back into this. Okay, the T290 series was all okay. Yeah, Joe Bodier, I was saying. He tragically died in a T280 crash at Le Mans in 1972, affecting its and his legacy. The Lola T290 series was launched in 1972. It was a 2-liter Group 6 sports prototype, designed for privateers using engines like the Ford Cosworth FVC. It was lightweight, reliable, and achieved strong results, including multiple class wins in European championships. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, so the T290, right, had even more revisions than the T280, like the 292, 295, 297. Was there a 297? I'm not sure, but maybe there was. Okay, so many revisions. Designed and developed by Bob Marston and John Barnard? Barnard. Not Bernard. Barnard. Yeah. Patrick Head and, our boy, Eric Broadley over here. The T290 series had an even more extreme aero design and was fitted with multiple Cosworth engines, including the glorious DFV, and even with an engine for the Bavarian boys, aka BMW, producing 255 to 300 horsepower, which was pretty good. In its T290 format, the DFV producing over 400 horsepower in the T292 form. Just think about that. Light car, really powerful engine, and it did great. The car was wildly successful in multiple races. 48 podium finishes, 23 overall victories, 20 class wins across 247 events, attested to Lola's expertise in designing the T290 series. Chris Craft secured 1973 European 2-liter Sports Car Championship, driving in a T292, an evolution of the T290. Third place overall at the 1976 24 Hours of Le Mans, achieved by Alain de Cadenet at Chris Craft, was the best finish the car ever achieved. The T290 soldiered on until 1986. Lola then introduced another new car. Yeah, Lola is making cars left and right here. The T380, introduced in 1975, was a 3-liter prototype for endurance racing, featuring a revised aerodynamic body. It is difficult to find much of the T380, also known as the de Cadenet Lola. It had limited success, mainly in private hands. HU1, according to the official Lola Cars website, was first entered in the 1975, Le Mans 24 Hours. And despite having problems, notably a lack of top speed on the Mulsanne straight, it finished a creditable 14th overall and 5th in the S3 class, Sports 3-liter, with the owner and entrant Alain de Cadenet and Chris Craft at the wheel. Wow, these two people are like great at this team. Okay, I cannot think of that analogy with them. Like, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and Robin at this. Okay, anyways, the issue would return the following year with it finished a creditable 14th overall and 5th in the S3 Sports 3 liter class with Alain Decadene and Chris Kraft at the wheel. I said that already, didn't I? Yeah, I'm following a script, guys. I'm sorry if I repeat a few things. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, in 1976, the car returned with the same driving team and following successful aerodynamic alterations to the bodywork. It qualified third and finished in the same position to give Lola their best ever Le Mans result. There were no podium finishes in the inter-series races, though. There was also an entry in the 24 Hours of Daytona, but not much is known after that about the T380. Like all Lola cars until now, the car had featured standard coil springs and wishbones. And, just bear with me now, guys, there's a pattern here, okay? The Cosmos DFV V8, producing 390 horsepower. The T390 1975 was a smaller capacity Group 6 car, debuted by Lola again, with engines around 2 liters. It was a 2-liter version of the T380 basically, and was competitive with European events. However, just like me, it was overshadowed by rivals with 2 Dodge Championship victories in 1975 and 77. Similar specs were there to the T380, with the only difference being the Cosworth FVD engine. So basically a baby T380, okay? The T390 was basically a baby T380. Yeah, so as I was saying, the FVD engine made 280 horsepower in this car. Sports 2000 was introduced in 1977 as a relatively inexpensive way for drivers to compete in sports car racing. A sports car version of Formula Ford, if you will. Why is Ford everywhere? Like, whenever I see it, this podcast, Ford is everywhere. Okay, so anyways, with the success in 2-liter racing, it was not surprising that Lola wanted a piece of this class as well, producing a chassis with a potentially exciting new formula. The T490, born in 1977, and the T590, born in 1980, were such 2000 Sports 2000 cars. Successful in their class due to simplicity and reliability, and their cost effectiveness. Yep, Lola there making race cars for the working class man, guys. If such a thing you could think of, working class people could race. You know, you just didn't have to buy your way to every motorsports like now. Well, you know, common people still can race, like you and me. We can still race by using Miatas or, Rallycross. Those things come to mind right now. Anyways, the T490, bear with me here, bigger the number, lesser the horsepower. Yeah, there's this weird thing with Lolas that the number increases but the horsepower decreases. Like the T380 had the 290 horsepower. Sorry, 390 horsepower. But the T390 had like 200 something horsepower, which is very weird if you think about it. So the T490 produced 120 brake horsepower from another Cosworth engine. I'm starting to think that Lola has a thing for Cosworth. You know, this time the 2-liter Ford Cosworth inline 4 was placed behind the driver in a rear midship layout. Mid-engine Lola, anybody? Yeah. Well, many mid-engine Lolas were made, but the 490 was also mid-engine. Okay, so 10 cars were built, being wildly successful due to the simple formula and decent aero. It won 19 out of 20 rounds in the inaugural 1977 SodaStream Sports 2000 Championship. The Diviana Gallica had 10 wins. John Cooper, guys, the person who pioneered the rear midship layout. Also, whom the Mini Cooper is named after. Okay, John Cooper had 5 wins on this car, with additional victories by Chris Alford, John Brown, Rad Dougal, damn, those were those names, and Derek Daly all contributed to the success of the car. With Vic Knight skills. Oh my, these names, guys, they're so freaking cool. Clinching multiple regional titles in Canada during the 1980s, 1977, 83, 86, 87, 88, through 90, right? Again proved to the world why Lola was so successful in its racing endeavors. The T590 became the successor to the T490. Right. Okay. There was change in the air for the season of 1980. Though the T490 was not uncompetitive, new designs had begun to threaten its success. What Lola decided to do? Completely make a new car. T590, no revisions. T490 to T590. Right, so with innovation in mind, Lola stepped to the drawing board with the design of the final car. I hope. Please, the T series remind me of the T series channel, and I am getting flashbacks. Please, guys, help me end it. Help me end the T series. The 590 was more powerful than its predecessor at 210 horsepower. Well, that breaking the trend. Okay. But that was it all. The second jet car had a chassis made of aluminium alloy, coated NS24, by now a staple for Lola cars. The Aero was revamped with a focus on efficiency based on the experiments in the wind tunnel at Imperial College London. Fun fact, Adrian Newey, the top, world-class top Red Bull winning car designer guy, very, very big man. Also made his final college works at the Imperial College London. Yeah, he studied aerodynamics there, worked aerodynamics in the wind tunnel over there, and also used it for multiple parts of his F1 career. That's pretty cool. Anyways, the T590 took 5 wins in the UK Championship, but the new Tiga SC80, a slightly modified SC79, was still the car to beat with 14 wins, notably in the hands of Ian Taylor and future Lola ALMS star James Weaver. The general feeling seems to be that the tub lacked sufficient torsional rigidity affecting the car's balance, and low drag bodywork offered less downforce than that of the Tiga. Limited recorded finishes happened for the T590. Notable third place was at Monza in 1990 by Pierre-Alain Baudet. That was the best the T590 series could muster, with some later wins in the late 80s and early 90s. Apart from these cars, Lola did some 500 and 300 series cars, but it never achieved much success with them. Okay, so guys, even with leaving out certain parts of the story of Lola, it is frankly huge, and my voice is losing. This is the first time I've been talking for 50 minutes. Please help. Okay, so I am going to be making a part 2 to the Lola series. This is the part 1 of the Lola series, from the origin to the early 90s. Okay, or not even the early 90s, the early 90s. Okay, however, Lola did do some wild things in the the mid to late 90s, the early part of the 2000s, and eventually there were very important things that I need to talk about. So there will be a part 2 to this episode, and as for always, keep listening, keep watching, and remember, I feel the need for speed. Over and out.